Hidden beneath the grand facade of Vatican City, behind ancient walls, lies one of the most guarded institutions in the world. It's not a church or a palace. It's a collection of secret documents that holds the power to rewrite history itself. For over 400 years, the Vatican Archives have been closed to the public, accessible only to a select few. What does the church hide within these miles of shelves? Are they protecting the legacy of saints, or perhaps concealing the sins of the past? Today we journey into the unknown to explore the Vatican's greatest secrets, uncover hidden truths, and separate fact from fiction. This is not just a story of faith. It's a story of power, betrayal, and the shaping of history. The story of the Vatican Archives begins in 1612, under the reign of Pope Paul V. But the collection of papal documents began long before that. From the early days of the Church, records of significant events, papal decisions, and religious controversies were carefully preserved. By the time the official archives were established, the Vatican already possessed centuries' worth of invaluable documents. The term secret in Vatican secret archives is often misunderstood. In Latin, secretum doesn't imply something hidden or forbidden. It simply means private or personal. These were and remain the Pope's personal archives, kept away from public view for centuries. Only in 1881 did Pope Leo XIII open the doors, allowing selected scholars to study its contents. But despite this gesture, much of the archives has remained restricted to all but the most privileged historians and researchers. Today, the Vatican archives stretch over 53 miles of shelving, containing documents that cover over 12 centuries of history. But only a fraction of the collection has ever been fully catalogued. It's not just a treasure trove of religious writings. It's a collection that holds key pieces of global history. The Vatican Archives are more than just papal decrees and religious texts. Inside these vaulted walls are treaties between nations, letters from kings and emperors, documents that chronicle the rise and fall of civilizations. But the true intrigue lies not in what's openly accessible, but in what remains locked away. Some of the most significant documents ever stored here include correspondence between the Vatican and world leaders, records of pivotal events like the Protestant Reformation, and key documents from periods of intense scientific debate, such as the trial of Galileo. These archives serve as a living history of not just the Church, but of Western civilization itself. But many ask, what else could be buried in these shelves, far from the public eye? And what documents have the Vatican deemed too dangerous or too controversial to ever see the light of day? Let's take a closer look at some of the most intriguing documents that have been uncovered, and others that are rumored to still be hidden within the archives. In 1633, the Vatican put Galileo Galilei on trial for heresy. His crime? Defending the idea that the earth revolved around the sun, a belief that directly challenged the Church's geocentric view of the universe. For centuries, the details of his trial were hidden, locked away in the Vatican archives. It wasn't until the late 19th century that these documents were finally made public. They revealed the lengths the Church went to in order to suppress scientific truth and maintain its theological doctrine. Today, these records are a stark reminder of the tension between faith and reason that has shaped much of human history. The Inquisition remains one of the darkest chapters in Catholic history. Over centuries, the Church prosecuted thousands of individuals for heresy, witchcraft, and blasphemy. The records of these trials were meticulously kept and remain within the Vatican archives today. The files contain detailed accounts of trials, confessions, often extracted under torture, and the eventual fate of those found guilty. For many, it was a sentence of death. These documents offer a chilling glimpse into the Church's immense power during this time and the fear it inspired across Europe. Among the treasures of the Vatican archives are personal letters from one of history's greatest artists, Michelangelo. These letters reveal a man under incredible strain, frustrated by the demands of the Church and the financial hardships he endured while working on the Sistine Chapel. "I am not paid," nor am I able to make ends meet. My work is constant, and yet the Pope's demands grow every day. These letters humanize the genius behind the artwork, showing the personal struggles that shaped some of the greatest masterpieces in human history. Perhaps one of the most controversial sections of the Vatican Archives relates to its role during World War II. For decades, the Vatican has been accused of complicity, or at least silence, in the face of Nazi atrocities. Only recently have some of these documents been declassified, revealing a complex relationship between the Vatican and Nazi Germany. Some argue that Pope Pius XII worked quietly to save Jewish lives, while others believe the Church could have done far more. The truth, as always, remains elusive. Even today, large portions of the Vatican archives remain off-limits to the public and even to scholars. Only a select few are granted access and only under strict supervision. What lies behind these locked doors? What secrets does the Church still guard so carefully? There's always a sense that the most important documents are just out of reach. What's behind those doors? We may never know. The Vatican's strict control over its archives has given rise to countless theories, some grounded in historical possibility, others stretching into the realms of myth and fantasy. What could the Church be hiding from the world? Throughout the centuries, the idea of hidden knowledge within the Vatican has fueled imaginations. Could there be lost gospels that tell a different story of Christ? Does the Church have evidence of extraterrestrial life, suppressed to maintain its grip on earthly authority? Or could there be proof of shadowy organizations like the Freemasons or the Illuminati, operating behind the scenes for centuries? One of the most persistent theories surrounding the Vatican archives is the existence of lost or suppressed gospels, accounts of Christ's life that paint a very different picture from what the Bible tells us. Could the Church be concealing documents that would undermine its teachings? There's historical evidence that suggests many gospels existed in the early centuries of Christianity, some of which were not included in the New Testament canon. It's possible that the Vatican has copies of these, but there's no concrete proof that they contradict the established narrative. The Church may simply deem them heretical or irrelevant. Documents like the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of Judas have already been discovered in other places, and they present alternative viewpoints on Christ's teachings. But some believe there are even more hidden texts that could challenge the very foundations of Christianity. Another tantalizing mystery involves the Knights Templar, a medieval Christian military order that amassed immense wealth and power during the Crusades. When they were disbanded by the Church in the 14th century, rumors spread that the Vatican had confiscated their vast treasures and their most guarded secrets. Some believe that the Templars uncovered holy relics during their time in Jerusalem, objects like the Ark of the Covenant, the Holy Grail, or even the true Cross of Christ, and that these relics are now hidden within the Vatican's walls. The Templars were said to be protectors of sacred relics, but much of their legacy has been obscured by myth. While it's possible that some Templar documents or artifacts are stored within the Vatican, the more fantastical claims, like the Holy Grail or the Ark, are more likely a product of legend than reality. Among the more outlandish theories is the claim that the Vatican holds evidence of extraterrestrial contact. Some suggest that the Church is in possession of documents, or even artifacts, that prove humanity has long been visited by beings from beyond our planet. Conspiracy theorist: why else would the Vatican be so secretive? For centuries, they've known that we are not alone in the universe. They hide it because it would fundamentally challenge their narrative of creation and mankind's unique place in the cosmos. Vatican representative: there is no evidence, nor has there ever been, that the Vatican possesses anything of the sort. The Church remains open to scientific discovery, but the idea that we're hiding information about extraterrestrial life is simply not true. And yet, the question lingers in the minds of some. What if? Few topics stir as much intrigue as the connection between the Vatican and secret societies, particularly the Freemasons and the Illuminati. For centuries, rumors have circulated that these shadowy organizations wield power behind the scenes, manipulating world events from the shadows. But is there any truth to these claims? The Freemasons were often at odds with the Catholic Church due to their belief in secularism and their influence in political affairs. But the idea of a grand Vatican Masonic conspiracy is largely a product of the 18th and 19th centuries, when anti-Masonic sentiment was high. Yet some believe the Vatican holds records that could confirm the existence of these secretive groups, showing how they influenced global politics, revolutions, and even the Church itself. In the modern era, the Vatican has begun to embrace transparency, at least to some degree. In 2012, the archives surrounding the reign of Pope Pius XII and during World War II were partially opened to scholars. And today, archivists are working to digitize ancient documents, ensuring that this invaluable repository of history is preserved for future generations. Each page we handle represents a fragment of history. Some of these documents are incredibly fragile, and digitization is not just about making them available, it's about safeguarding them from the ravages of time. But while the Vatican is slowly moving into the digital age, the question remains, will the most guarded parts of the archives ever be fully opened? Or will some secrets remain locked away forever? The future of the Vatican archives holds the promise of discovery and the potential for more revelations. But as long as there are locked doors and restricted access, the mysteries of the Vatican will continue to stir the imaginations of scholars and theorists alike. The Vatican archives are more than a collection of ancient documents. They represent the power of knowledge that has the ability to shape history, to preserve truths, and to conceal uncomfortable realities. For centuries, the Catholic Church has been at the center of Western civilization, wielding influence over kings, emperors, and entire nations. But with that power comes the responsibility of guarding history's greatest secrets. The documents we've uncovered today are just the beginning. What lies behind the Vatican's locked doors may never be fully known, but one thing is certain: as long as there are secrets, there will be those who seek the truth. Thank you for watching this documentary. If you enjoyed the content and want to explore more fascinating stories from around the world, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to Global Documentaries channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and let us know what topics you'd like to see next. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.